Hey everyone, I want to tell you about the ChatGPT moment, but for business work. That happened this week. It was when Claude released Claude Cowork. And Cowork is a new experimental product from Anthropic, the makers of Claude. And what it essentially is a web app front end to their really famous and powerful Claude Code product. Claude Code is an agentic coding platform that developers have been using. I've been teaching myself Claude Code, but Claude Cowork, way easier. So I want to basically explain why this is going to be like a seminal moment in the history of AI for business use cases. I want to walk you through Cowork and show you what the heck it is and how you should think about using it, all on today's show. So the first thing I want to go through is just like, what happened? Like, what is Cowork? What is happening? So on January 11th, Claude and Anthropic released Cowork. And there's a couple interesting things about Cowork. One, it was written exclusively with Claude Code, and Claude Code wrote the Cowork product in about a week and a half. So we're seeing a massive shift in velocity of products coming out through this new AI-driven coding model. But really what Cowork is, as you can see in the video here, is it's a easy, non-technical person's way to use Claude Code. What I've been seeing a lot is like where Claude Code might be your CTO, your Chief Technology Officer, Claude Cowork might be you thought of as your Chief Operating Officer. It helps you operate your life a lot better. I thought this was a very interesting tweet from Vibhu, don't know him, but he basically says like, hey, I installed Claude Cowork yesterday. 2 hours later, it produced 14 job descriptions I've been getting around to, a marketing strategy doc with budget allocation, partner emails, website copy, response to 23 LinkedIn DMs, 2 months of work, 2 hours. This is a hyperbole. This stuff wouldn't have taken 2 months. This stuff would have taken like a day or two. But it is the next level of automation for what I'd say like personal productivity for business use cases and work use cases. I'm sure you can use some of this stuff in your personal life, but it's going to be really valuable in your work life. And guest friend of the pod / all around amazing human, Lenny Rajitsky, he talks about one of the most important things of Claude Cowork. What makes Cowork so interesting is that you can give Cowork access to the files on your computer. It can read, write, it can organize things. It has a lot more access and subsequently context and power than the traditional version of Claude, where you can like create a project and upload some files, but you're limited to how much context you can actually upload. So for example, Lenny gave it 320 podcast transcripts and had it go through and give some of the top lessons and principles from that podcast. That's a huge amount of context. For example, wouldn't have been possible with the current Claude kind of web app experience, desktop experience without Claude Cowork. So I want to take you right now and I want to walk you through Claude Cowork, show you a couple examples and how it actually works. Okay, so to use Claude Cowork, the first thing you're going to have to do is install the Claude desktop app. The other thing that I will say, if you want to try Claude Cowork right now, it's only available to Claude Max subscribers, which is $100 a month. The reason for that is this is an early research preview. Fresh off the presses, they're just trying to get some feedback, and it's very new. So they're trying to limit it to a smaller pool of users. So that is the caveat. You got it. You need to use it on the desktop app, and you then need to be a Max subscriber. If you are a Max subscriber, what you will see is you have your historical chats, you have your Claude Code experience, where if you are running the actual Claude Code, you're there, and then you have Cowork. Cowork is a new tab there on your sidebar. And they show you right from the beginning some of the tasks you should do. You can code a prototype, you can send a message because it can integrate with your email services, your Gmail account, etc. Crunch data, create files, organize files, prep for your day because it can access your calendar. The other thing about Cowork, if you look here, it says these tasks are run locally and aren't synced across other devices. What the hell does that mean? Well, that means that it's processing them on your computer, not up in the cloud, which means that everything you do is going to be done locally to your computer. And if you're using Claude across multiple machines, it's not going to sync across it. But it also means that because it's processing on your computer, it can kind of happen in the background. You don't have to do a lot of that annoying stuff where you accidentally close a browser tab or you walk away and it times out, all that kind of stuff. It's running locally on your machine, which is a little bit of a better experience.
So you just saw what Claude Cowork can do. Here's how you actually use it. We built 12 prompts specifically for Claude Cowork that can access your folders, work in the background, and create real deliverables. They're designed to help you start replacing days of work. Get it right now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the show.
Okay. The first thing you're going to notice with Claude Cowork is this interesting different thing, which is you can add a folder or you can add connectors. The big thing we're going to talk about today is folders because, again, because you're running this on your computer, it can access and interact with everything on your computer. So for the sake of the show today, I really liked what Lenny did, and this is just an example. So I've got a folder here I've downloaded of about 100 transcripts from Marketing Against the Grain, and it's going to ask for permissions to access that folder. And now it can basically access all the transcripts that are in that folder on my computer. And additionally, I want to add one other file. I want to add a CSV that's called table data. And table data is literally just a CSV export of all of our YouTube analytics and how the podcast has performed. And now that I've done this, I can do a whole host of things. I can simply say, okay, looking at the podcast data and the show transcripts, generate a new format of our podcast that will generate more subscribers on YouTube, right? It's a very basic query. I can say, let's go. And so you'll see it's saying starting agent, but you do have to hit allow a few times. There's some permissionings and everything that comes up. And basically what this is now doing is locally on my computer, it is running and analyzing. So it's going to analyze the podcast data to help generate a new format that could drive more YouTube subscribers. Let me start by reading the uploaded file. So it's first looking at all of the data and understanding the CSV. Now let me read the CSV portions and also check the workspace folder for any transcript files. So it's finding all the transcripts. I have both your YouTube analytics data and mini transcript files. Let me read a few more sessions of the data and sample of top performing transcripts to understand what's working. Okay, I didn't tell it this much. It figured out everything that it had here. And now I have a good understanding of your podcast data and content. Let me read one more high performing transcript and a couple short form video transcripts to get the full picture. So it's telling you exactly what you're doing. What type of deliverable would be most useful for your new podcast strategy? Strategy document, presentation deck, one-page summary, or something else? You know what? Let's see what a deck would be. Let's see. What's your primary constraint for implementing the new format? Time, budget, team size, time. Okay. So now you'll see it said using to do right. You can see that Claude Cowork is much more technical. It's showing you that it's using different services and scripts, and it's reading the files. It's giving you more transparency, but also you can feel that it is a lighter weight version of Claude Code, and that they've really just built a nicer experience for non-technical people like me, likely you, on top of Claude Code. Also, pretty fast. Okay, so now let me create the presentation. Based on my analysis of your data, I see clear patterns in what drives subscribers. Top subscriber drivers, videos with how I run a zero employee agency, world's best landing page, GPT 4.0 replaced your creative teams, best CTR video, best short form, sweet spot, 10 to 20 minute tutorials with live demos perform best. High impact titles, specific around time savings. So now that it understands the problem, it's going to go and build me a presentation about what to do. You can see it's sending requests. It's actually writing the HTML for the individual slides. So what it's doing is it's using Claude Code to code the slides to actually give you this output. And see, this would be really valuable if you were working on a team and you wanted to take this presentation and share the learnings that you have derived with Claude and share them with other people, which is why I picked presentation. A strategy document is a little bit more of an obvious output, probably a little bit better output if you're just Kieran and I reading through it. But in this case, I wanted you all to realize that Claude Code codes lots of things, including slides, which doesn't get talked about that much. But what you'll see here now is that it's building my slides, and now it's creating a JavaScript file to build the presentation with charts. So it's building me charts within my slides, which is pretty cool. But you can see, again, it's using very different kind of interactions than traditional Claude. Claude wouldn't tell you that it was like using JavaScript to build presentations. It is definitely a more technical version of Claude, but a much less technical version of Claude Code. I will say one of the good things about it is like you can just go and do this and just set it to run and go work on other stuff and then come back when it's done, because it's self-contained to the desktop app. It's running on your computer. You can go do things in your browsers and other applications while this is working in the background. All right, I've created your presentation. Here's a summary of your new podcast format strategy. New format, AI Marketing Lab. This is something we'd actually been talking about, so it's pretty cool. Based on our analysis of 200 plus videos and transcripts, here's what drives the most subscribers. What's working, what's not. New format pillars, building along tutorials, solo founder spotlights, interview AI native entrepreneurs, tool showdowns. Winning formula equals time saved plus specific outcome plus method or tool. And so here's a presentation to get 100,000 subscribers this year. Let's look. And you can also open this keynote, but I'm just going to preview it right here. See how it works. Okay, so marking against the grain, data-driven format for 10x subscriber growth. What the data reveals, the core sweet spot duration is 15 to 25 minute tutorials with step-by-step walkthroughs drive 3x more subscribers. New format, the AI Marketing Lab. We're building build-along tutorials, solo founder spotlights, tool showdowns, high converting title formula. So it came up with a title formula. Time saved plus specific outcome plus method or tool. Seems very solvable. The 18-minute blueprint. I like this. So it shows you exactly what you need to do. Build part 1, build part 2, results, CTATs. Here's the context and to starts the hook. Quick wins. Implement this week. Add chapter markers. 3-second hook rule. Double down on Claude. Claude content has 6.26 CTR. Claude seems to be a little biased towards Claude. Pinned comment strategy, killer short form, lead magnet per video. So it's pretty cool. It gives you the whole projection to get to 100 subs. And let's build the first episode and pick a pilot topic, select a blueprint, record and ship. Because again, we told it that time is the barrier here. We want to get started as soon as possible. So in literally 15 to 20 minutes, I don't know exactly the full runtime there, what we have done is we've looked through hundreds of transcripts. We've looked through thousands of rows of data. We've taken all of that. We've come up with insights against a given goal. And we now have a presentation that Kieran, I could show anyone around what we want to do next. And I could have been doing 2 or 3 other things while this was all happening. And this is why I think this is the ChatGPT moment for business work. There's just a level of complexity of thinking that exists now when you look at the Claude Opus model combined with the ability to really access a lot of information that Cowork makes much, much easier. And so you can see its ability to programmatically create a lot of emails, to do a lot of the mundane tasks that you have to do. You can now really do much faster and at scale with Cowork. At first, you're like, oh, $100 a month. That's a lot to be able to use this. And then you're like, wait a second. What would you pay for a growth strategy for an important project you're working on? I'd pay way more than $100 for a really good new show format to get us more subscribers on the podcast. And yet I just did that in 15 minutes this month. And I'm probably going to do 10 other things that are worth thousands of dollars this month for my $100. So I do think it's good value. It's a really cool product. It's still early. There's bugs. You got to hit allow. Like, you need to be okay with the rough edges. But I think, to me, that Claude Cowork is showing everybody what is truly possible with AI when you can get the right context with the right intelligence of the model. So my call to action, all of you, go out Give it a try. Drop a comment for any of the cool use cases you have used Claude Cowork for, and I just want your thoughts. Are you excited to use it? What's stopping you from not using it? If you're not excited to use it, would love to hear all of that. Drop those in the comments below. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like. We'll see you real soon on Marketing Against the Grain.
This data is wrong every freaking time.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform where everything is fully integrated.
Whoa, I can see the client's whole history, calls, support tickets, emails, and here's a task from 3 days ago I totally missed.
HubSpot. Grow better.